Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Mission Possible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros Tom Cruise. There is a lot to say about this man. So, let's do this relatively fast. So, Tom Cruise, been around for decades, long time. um, since like the 80s. I mean, I guess there was his first. I guess there was Risky Business, which is known for like the little dance scene. But Top Gun, that was like his first big movie. That was mainly about him. And then after that, you had Rain Man, and then after that, he had a really solid streak of hits. I guess see what is there? Days of Thunder, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with a Vampire, The First Mission Possible, Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut. I'm not sure if that was a hit, but it wasn't like a flop either. Magnolia was a flop, at least box office wise. What else? Mission Impossible 2, The Worst Mission Possible, Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, not counting Austin Powers, that was a cameo. The Last Samurai, Collateral, War of the Worlds. He was doing really good for himself. And then things got weird. Things took a weird, bad turn for him. It was like a combination of his relationship with Katie Holmes, or publicized relationship with Katie Holmes, the Scientology, the couch jumping on Oprah. It was bad, and it kind of hurt his brand like for a long while. Because Mission Impossible 3, although it wasn't a failure, it was seen as a box office disappointment. And the Tropic Thunder, he kind of had a small supporting role in that, so I'm not really counting that. Valkyrie did fine. Night and Day did fine, but yeah, Tom Cruise was not where he once was when it came to his movies making money. Then Mission Possible Ghost Protocol things started turning around because that movie did really, really well, and then he did Rock of Ages, and there goes that momentum. Then you got Jack Reacher, Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow, which some of these are considered like cult classics now. I'm not sure about Jack Reacher though. I think the Amazon series is, from what I've heard, that's far superior than Tom Cruise's Jack Reacher. And then you got Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which was a huge hit. Jack Reacher 2 is and The Mummy, we don't talk about that one. American Made did okay-ish. And then you got Mission Impossible Fallout. And then last year, the movie that shocked everybody, Top Gun Maverick, which decimated any and all expectations, making over 700 million domestic, almost 1.5 billion worldwide. I mean, Top Gun Maverick was the biggest movie of the year domestically last year. Worldwide, that was Avatar: The Way of Water. But still, I mean, Top Gun Maverick, that was all Tom Cruise. That was the Tom Cruise show, and it's pretty much the same here with Dead Reckoning Part 2. Part 1, my bad. Part 2 comes out next year. But yeah, Tom Cruise, he can sell movie tickets as long as the movie looks really, really good. As long as it's presented well and it's sold well, or is part of a really popular brand, he can sell tickets. So I would say Tom Cruise's name is definitely a pro here, no doubt about that, especially after what happened last year with Top Gun Maverick. So that's pro number 1. Pro number 2, the Mission Impossible franchise. Okay. So Mission Impossible actually started as like a TV show, I believe like was it in the 60s? I don't remember, but I know it was a TV show first before it became a movie. And it all started in 1996. Yes, it was that long ago, with the first Mission Impossible, which was one of the biggest hits of 1996, up with like 45 million, which was a lot back then. And made 180 million domestic, 457 million worldwide. Big old hit. So naturally, you want to continue that. So Mission Impossible 2 in 2000. a movie that is considered to be no good. But thanks to the success of the first Mission Impossible and due to Tom Cruise's star power, it did way better than the first movie. It opened with 57 million, made over 200 million, 215 million domestically, 549 million worldwide. It was the biggest movie of the year worldwide in 2000. So things are really looking up, at least financially. Then 6 years later, we have Mission Impossible 3, which came out during Tom Cruise's downhill public downhill spiral, and I definitely say it suffered because of that. This movie suffered because of it because it really fell off. If it opened with like 47 million, made like 133 million domestically, less than 400 million worldwide. It was still one of the biggest movies of 2006, but it was seen as an underperformer by a lot of people, even though the movie was better than 2. It didn't matter. It was seen as a bit of a disappointment. So one would think that would be it for Mission Impossible. After the third movie, they'd be like, okay, we're done. No more. No, that's not what happened. Enter Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. But unlike Mission Impossible 3, this, actually ended well. Okay? It wasn't a disappointment because the movie was received very, very, very well. And it did very, very, very well. It had a bit of a weird start because it came out during Christmas. It opened in just IMAX its first weekend. Then it went wide after that. So it was a bit of a weird run. But it had really good legs. It, made a substantial amount of money, made over 209 million domestic, 694 million. It was the biggest Mission Impossible up to that point by quite a bit. So the franchise was back. It was finally going to be stable in terms of quality and success. And it continued with Rogue Nation in 2015, which opened by 55 million. It made a slightly less than Ghost Protocol, 195 million, but that's still really good. And its worldwide total was 688 million, which is still really, really good. It was only off by like a little bit, so I seriously doubt Paramount was complaining. So naturally, you make another one. 2018's Mission Impossible Fallout. And this did better than Rogue Nation. It opened higher with 61 million, had really good legs. It made 220 million domestically and 786 million worldwide, the biggest Mission Impossible currently. So, yeah, the franchise, like, after, like, the first half of its life, like, 1, 2, and 3, it wasn't the greatest in terms of, like, quality and definitely in terms of box office with, like, the fall that Mission Impossible 3, it underperforming. But with 4, 5, and 6, that made this series kind of like an action powerhouse. Like Ghost Protocol saved the series. It gave it a whole new direction, and Mission Impossible has ran with it ever since. Well, you can say Tom Cruise has ran with it because that dude loves to run. Now here we are with Dead Reckoning Part 1. So Mission Impossible, especially 4, 5, and 6, were all highly reviewed, highly received movies. And obviously that's going to benefit this because you want to have a predecessor that's good than bad. So yeah, I say Mission Impossible, the brand name, is a pro, definitely. Another pro I can think of, obviously, is the reviews for this movie, which are very, very good, just like the last few Mission Impossibles. I seriously doubted they would be significantly worse. But its critic score is at 96%, audience score is at 94%, so yeah, easy pro. I don't think I need to explain that one. So that's pro number 3. Pro number 4, competition. Oh man, that's a good joke. As you notice, the June box office was very miserable, with the exception of Across the Spider-Verse. So all the June movies are pretty much dead at this point. Like they're just non-factors. And like last weekend, sure you had Insidious, The Red Door, and sure there's Sound of Freedom, which was a movie that came out of nowhere, it's become this huge indie hit. But I don't think those are going to put much of a dent into Dead Reckoning Part 1. I don't think anything right now is going to put a dent into this movie. I seriously doubt it because the one movie that could have done it was Indiana Jones, and it failed miserably. So, yeah. um, Obviously, there's going to be competition later, but for right now, there's this movie has really nothing to worry about. So, lack of competition, labeling that as a pro. Trying to think of some other pros. Said all the major stuff. It's Tuesday preview numbers. Yeah, this movie's opening on a Wednesday. It was supposed to be the 14th, but then they changed it to the 12th like a few months ago. It was semi last minute, but not really. But it was still kind of a bit of a shock to see that. But that's what Paramount just decided to do. I think I mentioned like when I made my canceled episode about that date change that they were definitely influenced by the Mario movie's success because Super Mario Brothers movie that opened on a Wednesday, not a Friday, and it did gangbusters for the 5-day weekend. So I imagine Paramount wanted something similar to happen to Mission Impossible. Like that's my theory. um, but yeah, it's Tuesday previews 7 million, which are pretty good considering it's the middle of the week. And when compared to, say, Mission Impossible Fallout, which opened on a traditional Friday, that had a Thursday preview of 6 million. So the fact that Dead Reckoning Part 1 had a bigger number on a Tuesday is a really good sign. I mean, sure, technically, you could say, well, it did worse than Indiana Jones. Yeah, but that was a Thursday night performance, like 7.2 million. And that movie, it had no real hype. It didn't have much going for it. So, yeah, like the comparison between this and Indiana Jones is kind of problematic. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I can't really compare this to too many movies nowadays, at least midweek launches. I can't even compare it to Mario because I didn't have previews. It just opened on Wednesday and that was it. Like, so it's hard to compare this with others. It really is. Shoot. I guess there was Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. That was technically going back to it. They had a weird release, but his first real day was like Wednesday. But that was Christmas. That makes again, the comparison doesn't work at all because Christmas can be extremely wonky. So I don't know what I can compare this to. Really, it's kind of hard. I guess let's look at Fast X, just for the heck of it, because it's already here. How did I do in previews? I mean, Fast X is also a long running franchise, just like Mission Possible. So I guess it kind of works. 7.5 million. Again, that's Thursday night. So, but the thing is, like Mission Impossible, I don't expect it to be super front loaded because it's geared more towards like an older demographic. They compared to like some other franchises. So I feel like it's going to be a little more backloaded in comparison to others. But still, it's Tuesday preview. I say is good. So that's a pro. Are there any other pros? I'm trying to think, and I don't think there's any more. At least any more significant ones. Okay, cons. I really can't. There's not much going against this movie, really. I guess the big thing is that next weekend you got Barbie and Oppenheimer, Barbieheimer, if you will, opening, and Oppenheimer is definitely going to be more direct competition for this because Oppenheimer is going to take away Mission Impossible's IMAX screens, and that's going to be no good for Mission Impossible. Plus, they share like basically the same target demographic. So Oppenheimer is definitely going to be a problem. But after that, it should survive. I mean, what in August, I mean, sure you got like Meg 2 and Gran Turismo and Blue Beetle, I guess. But no, none of those are looking particularly strong to me. Plus, Mission Possible, like Rogue Nation and Fallout were able to basically live on through August, and I imagine this might do the same potentially. So yeah, dealing with Oppenheimer next week, and to a lesser extent Barbie, that's gonna be a problem. So that's a con. And I guess I don't know, the fact that this is technically a two-parter, because obviously they make it very clear this is a part one. Part two comes out next June. That could hurt business in a way. I don't know. I feel like that might make this movie kind of underwhelming to watch. At least the ending will be underwhelming to watch. I haven't seen the movie. I don't know how it ends, but I'd like to imagine it's going to end with a to be continued, and that might, you know, suck the energy out of the movie. Kind of what I experienced watching Across the Spider-Verse, where like I knew it was part one of a two-parter, but I guess some people didn't know. So when the movie ended the way it did, people were like, "What, really?" People were a little upset. Um, so yeah, that could hurt it a bit. Maybe not that much, but that's still something to note. The fact that this is part of half of a story, half of a movie technically. So that's a con. I guess another con is the budget, because Jesus Christ, 290 million. What is going on with budgets nowadays? Why are all these movies so ridiculously expensive? I don't know. I mean, you got Fast X, which was like 340 million production budget. Then you got Little Mermaid 250. Then you got was it Transformers Rise of the Beast 195, Elemental 200, Flash 220, Indiana Jones 300. Like, goddamn, these budgets are out of control. And it's, I guess Guardians 3 was also 250. And it's kind of hilarious that the biggest movie of the summer, Across the Spider-Verse, cost like less than half of all those movies. So yeah, that budget, that it's gonna take a lot for this movie to make its money back. And it could. I mean, considering how the last few movies did, it could definitely make its money back. But it's gonna need to have like a really good opening and really good legs in order for that to happen. And I think it can accomplish both. But we'll see. But I'm gonna label its budget as a con, definitely. So yeah. So opening weekend, I gotta do 3 day and 5 day. So 3 day, the actual weekend. I don't know. I'm not sure how this movie might be initially front loaded, because Top Gun Maverick was initially front loaded, at least for like one weekend, and then it was just smooth sailing after that. I think Mission Impossible's first few days could be a little front loaded to an extent. I'm not sure about how much. Um, I don't know. I guess for the 3 day, I think it's gonna have a bigger 3 day than Fallout. So I'm gonna say 70 million for the 3 day weekend, and then it's a 5 day weekend. Shoot, that's a struggle. This is a huge struggle. I mean, like I pretty much goofed when it came to my Mario prediction. I feel like I'm gonna goof again. Uh, I don't know. Uh, I don't. I don't know. This is hard. I'm gonna say, 60 to 70 million 3 day, and 5 day 90 to 100. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. And then it's total, I don't know, like over 200 million realistically, at least like I'm gonna say 250. Um 250 plus domestically. And that's why I see this movie landing, and that's it. That's it. So That's it for today. Obviously, no other movies are coming out today. Nothing for the weekend, so you won't be seeing me Friday doing this. Next weekend is gonna be fun. We got Barbieheimer coming out. We got Barbie and Oppenheimer, the showdown of the year, right here. Both of these movies have a lot of momentum. They got a lot of getting a lot of buzz. They're expected to do very well, and hopefully this will stop the bleeding we've been seeing this summer when it comes to like success. When it comes to just overall box office. But yeah, next week should be very, very interesting. So stay tuned for those prediction videos. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage, all previous prediction videos I made this year. Want to watch any of those? You go right ahead. Or I guess any of the ones I've done the past few years, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Mission Impossible 7, Dead Reckoning Part 1. God damn. I have talked about this movie way too much. It was like delayed over and over and over again because of COVID and because of what I had to deal with when it came to like the filming and stuff. Apparently filming took a long time. It was a grueling process. So, and not to mention this was always meant to be a two-parter. So you had to deal with like both movies. It was a mess. But yeah, the first time I mentioned it was episode 8. That was in 2020. I talked about it alongside the 8th movie, Spider-Man 3 MCU, which I called, it didn't have a title yet, No Way Home. Into the Spider-Verse 2, Across the Spider-Verse, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and some others like Thor Love and Thunder, and Tomorrow War, and Hotel Transylvania 4, and Mitchell's versus the Machines, which was originally called Connected. So that was the first time I mentioned it. The second time I mentioned it was episode 43. Talked about it alongside A Quiet Place Part 2, Paw Patrol the movie, and Nobody. So that was the second time. The third time was, what is it? Episode 56. Talked about it alongside the 8th movie again, Dead Reckoning Part 2. Top Gun Maverick, Jackass 4, Jackass Forever, and Snake Eyes. So that was the third time. The fourth time, yes, there was a fourth time, was episode 76. Talked about it alongside Top Gun Maverick again, Jackass Forever again, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Then, yes, this keeps going. Next time was episode 102, where I talked about it alongside the 8th movie again and Blazing Samurai, which was later retitled Paws of Fury. So that was another one. And the last time I talked about it was pretty recent. It was episode 187. I talked about it alongside the creator. That's when they got the Wednesday date change. And yeah, that's all the times I talked about Mission Impossible 7, and by extension 8 that came alongside it. So if you want to watch any of those cancel episodes or any of the ones I've done on the channel, there's like 196 episodes, I think. It's been a while since I've done one of them, so yeah, 196. So if you want to watch any of those episodes in any order, you want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. And there's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. June recap will come out tomorrow. Really, it should be tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And for July recap, that won't be until the first week of August after Mutant Mayhem and The Meg 2 come out. So, that's when it'll come out. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.